Hi everyone, Naomi Reissner here. Today's spotlight on Belmar history is going to be about bridges. For a small town, we have a lot of bridges. How many of us have driven up to one of the bridge approaches, whether it was Ocean Avenue, F Street, or the old Route 35 drawbridge, and the bells started clanging, the gates came down, and you did a U-turn and you ran over to another bridge to see if you could get across the river. Guilty. But let's go back in time to when these men formed this real estate venture, and they headed south from Ocean Grove to buy land and build a new community. This is the bridge that they would have crossed. While this picture is unnamed and undated, I believe this to be the first bridge. It's wooden, and it is built with wooden structure and supports in the Shark River, and it was the only bridge at the time, so this is the way they came over to Ocean Beach. And my research tells me that it was built in 1856. 40 years later, a new bridge is built. The F Street Bridge becomes a steel and concrete bridge. This photograph is marked, it says New Bridge over Shark River. And you can see that it has the cement columns, and it has steel railings, and it has wood planking. And it was built for a horse and carriage. Oh, and by the way, it was a toll bridge. It cost 10 cents to cross over for a horse and carriage. This is another picture. This is a blown up postcard, and it shows you some of the old automobiles. We're now probably into the early 1900s. And you can see that it's still a wood planking. Over here is the walkway, and on the other side of that rail is the trolley tracks. This is a little better picture of the walkway. This would be looking towards Ocean Beach, looking south. This is the walkway. And on the other side is the trolley. Here's a picture of the trolley. And this building over to the right on the east, on the west, that would be the casino building at the time. That bridge was built in 1896. There was a lot of controversy at the time about whether Shark River was actually a navigable river. In 1919, there was actually talk of a new bridge over on Ocean Avenue. The towns of Belmar and Avon were, along with the state, contributing a lot of money to shore up the inlet at the ocean. The inlet was always a problem, as the sands were always shifting and closing completely. In fact, I read one article where there were men actually in the inlet digging out the sand to get the river flowing again. So Belmar and Avon were now paving Ocean Avenue in anticipation of the new bridge at Ocean Avenue. The new bridge on Ocean Avenue was built in 1923. And it opened up the traffic because before, the only way you could cross over the river was at F Street. Now you could cross over on Ocean Avenue. But have you ever wondered, when you're driving along Ocean Avenue going north, you come to the north end of Bradley Beach, and Ocean Avenue just stops. You have to turn west and go over Route 71 to get into Ocean Grove and Asbury Park. And that is because the Camp Meeting Association, who owned the land in Ocean Grove, would not let Ocean Avenue come through. In fact, at one time, there was a plan to have an Ocean Boulevard from the Highlands south all the way below Seagirt, and it never happened because the Camp Meeting Association prevented that. Around 1921, the traffic is horrendous. You have Ocean Avenue Bridge now, by the way, which it was a drawbridge. It became a problem right after it was built because the channel kept shifting. Even though the state and the towns of Belmar and Avon had spent a lot of money building up the jetty and the bulkhead, it continued to be a problem. This is a picture of the early Ocean Avenue Bridge that was built in 1923. This is looking east, going out to the ocean. This is another shot of the bridge. You can see the bridge tenders building here, and this would be looking inland. And you can see the concrete pilings and the jetty. State is now beginning to realize what an important waterway this is. There was no safe harbor between Sandy Hook and Barnegat, a distance of 60 miles. That's a considerable distance if a boat is in distress. But if they couldn't get through this channel into the river, it was not a safe harbor at all. So the state is spending money dredging the channel, but this bridge here over the Ocean Avenue, where the draw is, the channel kept shifting south and it kept closing up. So it constantly needed dredging and it constantly needed shoring up with the jetties. And they had to build the jetties further out, both the north and the south side. Now by around early 1924, 25, the state is talking about building a bridge west of the railroad. The towns of Avon and Bradley Beach were in favor of it because the congestion on Main Street was terrible. And the purpose of the Route 35 bridge west of the railroad would bring the traffic north to other towns and relieve the congestion on main streets in the local towns. Interestingly enough, the mayor of Belmar at the time was opposed to the Route 35 bridge because there was talk of an intercoastal canal. And he felt if the bridge was built, it would interfere with that canal. That never happened. The canal never happened. The state built the bridge on Route 35 and it opened in 1928. Interestingly enough, it was not a drawbridge at the time. It was built with the facility to enable it to be a drawbridge. But remember now, at this time, the only drawbridge is this one at Ocean Avenue. The F Street Bridge is still a fixed bridge, and the railroad is still a fixed bridge. So they built the one over 35 with the capability of a draw if the future dictated. Now the state is looking at the F Street Bridge, which is in terrible condition. It was built for a horse and carriage, and now it's automobiles. So the state built a new bridge over F Street, and it was dedicated in 1933. It was called the Sterner Memorial Bridge, and it was in honor of E. Donald Sterner, who was one of the many advocates of the Shark River. Interestingly enough, in the 1920s, the railroad bridge was controversial. The railroad, don't forget, came into Belmar in 1875, and the bridge was built the year before, and it was a fixed bridge. And the only boats that could go under it were rowboats or small skiffs. No big sailboats with any kind of a mast could go under. The railroad, the New York and Long Branch Railroad's contention was there's not enough boat traffic, the river is not a navigable river, and so we're not building a new bridge. However, we will raise it 2 feet. The problem with the railroad was when they did repairs to their bridge, they would cut the old wooden pilings and drive new wooden pilings, but they never removed the old pilings, and that became the problem. It started clogging up the waterway. There were a lot of boaters that had accidents, and it interfered with the flow of the river. In the early 1930s, the War Department, which at that time was in charge of the rivers and bridges, ordered the New York and Long Branch Railroad, you will build a new bridge. And you will build it to the same specifications as the new F Street Bridge, with the same height and the same draw. And that opened in 1937. The 1930s saw a lot of improvement to Belmar. there's now talk of a new Ocean Avenue Bridge to replace the one that is already there. And that was dedicated in 1937. And we have a program that highlights the new Ocean Avenue Bridge over Shark River, the borough of Belmar and Avon. And here we have a picture of someone's ribbon. I guess that entitled them to go into some of the dedication services. Dedication and opening of Ocean Avenue Bridge, May 1937. Here's a picture of them dredging Shark River. Shark River was a lot of mud flats, there was no channel, and if they started building drawbridges so that the bigger boats could come into the inlet and into the river, you really needed to dredge that. So the state started spending a lot of money dredging that. The town of Belmar spent $350,000 on docks and developing the basin from 8th Avenue all the way down to K Street. There would be enough docks for 75 boats. And people were signing up and saying, hey, I won't dock my boat in Barnegat if I can come into Shark River. And it quickly filled up. Dredging was taking place, a channel was being built in the river, and there was a marine parade. And one of the newspapers highlighted and said, there's a wonderful future for Belmar in Shark River. Indeed, there was a lot of celebration and good cause for it. I'd like to show you some of the aerial photos that we have. These are great shots. This particular shot is around 1944, and this is looking west. This is Inlet Terrace. This is the F Street Bridge. And over here, it's hard to see the railroad bridge, and then beyond that is the Route 35 bridge. This is another one. This is looking east. This would be the Shark River area. This is the Route 35 bridge with the railroad on the other side of it. This would be the Main Street Bridge, and this is the inlet going out, and this way down here would be the Ocean Avenue Bridge. This is another good shot. This would be from Avon looking south. This is the Ocean Avenue Bridge. You can see this is Belmar, and it's an empty lot where today there are apartments, and the Belmar Fishing Club is visible over here on the left, and this is the ocean over here. Here's another shot, again from Avon looking south. On the Avon side, there's a big empty space here, vacant land. This is the Ocean Avenue Bridge. You can see the North Jetty and the South Jetty and the Belmar Fishing Club. And here are old cars. This is around 1944, all lined up. So it has to be summertime, so there's a lot of people there. This is a shot looking west. This is the Ocean Avenue Bridge. You can see how far the jetty has now been built out on the south side. And over here is the beach, and this is the inlet going in, and that would be the F Street Bridge. I enjoyed doing this research and learning about the development, and if it wasn't for the river, we wouldn't need the bridges. But we have these bridges, and today we have the fixed span bridge over Route 35, thank goodness. And there's talk of a new bridge on Main Street, which is already 80-some years old, as well as the Ocean Avenue Bridge. I would like to make mention that some of these photos are available in our archives because of the generous donation of local collectors. If you have any local memorabilia that you'd like to share with us, please do so. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like us on Facebook.